Left 4 Dead. It's one of those games that can't really die, I think at least. Most people would describe Left 4 Dead as a zombie co-op horde shooter and not exactly a horror game. While it does have horror elements, it's not really, huge into horror. It's tense, yeah, and it has terror, but it's not supposed to scare you. The game has been out for a long time, 15 years in fact, and it still pulls tons of players. The reason because of that is, well, the Steam Workshop. While not the exact reason, it's probably one of the biggest reasons. The Steam Workshop lets you turn all the common infected into Weezer album covers or make all the survivors anime girls. Another thing that the Steam Workshop can do is at least try to make a Left 4 Dead scary. While it can't 100% achieve this, it can try to and sorta pull it off. But let me ask you this, what if someone made a horror movie in the universe of Left 4 Dead? How would that work? Well, you don't have to answer that question because I got the answer for you. While not exactly a horror movie, someone made an analog horror of Left 4 Dead, or in the Left 4 Dead universe, and this is really exciting for me because I have never seen anything like this. But I've never seen an analog horror taking place in Left 4 Dead, a game which I have way too many hours on. But another thing about this analog horror I want to talk about is that it's not really well known. Like, yeah, I get that the Left 4 Dead community is generally kind of a niche one when compared to like Call of Duty or stuff like that. But seriously, this is like very unknown, like even in the Left 4 Dead community. I have seen absolutely no one talk about this. No YouTubers, no community posts, no nothing about this analog horror. So in a way, I feel like I'm kind of stumbling onto a gold mine here. Like I'm kind of like the first one to talk about this. But yeah, there's probably some other YouTuber with like no subscribers that talked about this. I'm literally that YouTuber. I'm describing myself here. But without further ado, I want to go ahead and start talking about this. And before I start, this goes without saying, but please go support the Sita Analog Horror. This channel really deserves some attention, and I'm surprised I'm the only one here talking about this, like, in this way, making a video on it. Alright, now on to the first episode. Episode 1, the safe room's main premise is telling you how to make a safe room properly or by Sita standards. Anyway, after the short little intro the tape does, it tells you in detail why it's, well, telling you how to make a safe room. With the spread of green flu throughout the northeast of the USA, contact with infected individuals has become a serious danger. We, the Civil Emergency Defense Agency, have distributed this tutorial in your care package to help protect you and your loved ones with the use of safe rooms. This video will help assist you on constructing one. Don't forget to watch other media provided to you in your care package, such as Green Flu, as it shares useful knowledge about the green flu infection that could be very beneficial. Now with the introduction out of the way, let's get started. Alright, now that we're finally done with the introduction, now we're in the getting started section of the video. The tape then says to make sure you have the following supplies in your Sita care package. The supplies in the Sita care package, which is literally just a cardboard box with a Sita logo slapped on it, is a door manual / toolbox, 2 safe room door parts, a portable radio and batteries, a green flu pamphlet, non-perishable food and water, and flashlights and first aid kits. It then says depending on where the safe room is located, bedding and furniture may or may not be a commodity. Basically it says for comfort, it's fend for yourself. And then your first spooky moment happens. Now you're probably wondering, what in the was that? Well, I'm gonna treat it like the analog horror does and just completely ignore it until the time comes. After that, it says, now that you have all of your parts situated, now it's time to actually build the safe room, and to make sure that your booklet is there to help you. It also says, to pick an ideal spot, make sure it follows the checklist for your safety and the others. Others being your fellow survivors. I wasn't trying to do anything spooky. It then goes into serious mode with the footage being, well, darker, and the music being, well, also darker, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. Basically, it goes from this to this. I feel like what I'm saying now is falling apart, but like, you get my point, it changes. What it talks about also starts to get darker, since it talks about how a safe room could let undesirable entities inside. It also states that even with following the checklist step by step, it does not guarantee you 100% safety. Why it says this, I don't really know why. Maybe he's referring to the fact that tanks can knock down safe room doors. Then the music just goes away with the start of the safety checklist. Maybe it's with the safe room, who knows. Anyway, number 1 for the checklist says shelter in a fortifiable and defensible area, preferably underground. Windowless is recommended if there are any openings, seal it up to minimize contact with outside world. Next up is to make sure that your safe room doors are assembled correctly. If it is, install them onto the door hinges of your shelter after removal of previous door. When installing, make sure that they are securely fastened. This is the most vital part of keeping your safe room secure. And last but not least, make a valid effort that nothing is staring at you from the shadows. Wait. Then it goes over some things to look for in a compromised safe room. It then shows the second safe room in the Blood Harvest campaign, which does bring some questions to mind, but I'll get to them later. It then goes over the reasons why this is a compromised safe room, the first one being that there are weapons in the safe room. It then says it is illegal to harm any individual, infected or not, in which case our survivors are now criminals. It says this because they say they are still human. Well, technically yes, and technically no. I'll get to this later. I'll get to this at the end of the episode. The second reason why this is a compromised safe room is because of low supplies and depleted water. It then asks if you can hear clanging. It then cites the reason as of the rats. It then asks if you can spot the third reason. And then it says the third reason is in the room and you still can't see it. And then it does this. It then shows a time-lapse of an old lady turning into a stair. Before the mutation, she looks normal like an old person, but then after the mutation, she looks weird, like kind of like a smoker. It then plays an audio clip, which I will play now. Be warned, it is pretty long.
The stair is a highly rare mutation that exists among people infected with green flu, with the first encounter being at the Savannah, Georgia Liberty Mall Evac Center. It ranks a 10 out of 10 on the Special Infected Civil Scale. It is easy to identify due to usually having one half of its face and body distorted, and having a noticeable beaming eye from the less distorted half of its face. The origin of the stare's physical appearance is unknown at this time. This infected stalks non-infected from the shadows effectively, and even if the victim spots the starer, it may not even care that it's been seen. If the starer is hidden in the shadow well enough, in which they usually are, the only thing visible will be their gleaming eye. When a starer is stalking an individual, they are not always necessarily hostile and may even move on their own accord. However, if the starer is hostile, survivability is low with an 81% mortality rate for hostile encounters. They are fast, strong, and persistent, no matter the age of the infected. They will almost stop at nothing to hunt down their prey, mutilating them piece by piece. With stalking behaviors, their intricate social structures and consumption of prey, higher thought is speculated to be at play. This profile does not include that other thing.
And then that's it. That's the end of the safe room. Congratulations, you made it through it. Now I do want to mention some things before I stop talking about this episode. First of all, the stair. What is it? Where did it come from? Why is it here? Whatever. Now you may have noticed I neglected to mention the white eye thing. Why does it have a glowing white eye? I don't really know, and neither does Sita. So according to this episode, the stair is a very rare special infected with half of its body very distorted. It was first found at the Liberty Mall evacuation center near Savannah, Georgia, where Dead Center takes place, and it ranks a 10 out of 10 on the Sita civil scale. So this thing is just as strong, if not stronger, than the tank. The stair, unsurprisingly, stares from afar to survivors. The stair isn't always hostile, unlike the other special infected, and may or may not even attack. It doesn't even have to attack, it can just walk away if it wants to. Now apparently they're very strong, fast, persistent, no matter the age of the infected. They will mutilate the victim just like the hunter. They're very strong. They could possibly be stronger than the tank. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell you something that we haven't learned yet. I don't know if we learned this before the next video or... No, not before the next video, sorry. After the next video or after the video after that. I don't really know when we learned this, but this series of tapes, this analog horror does not take place during the initial infection of the green flu. It does not take place in 2009 or 8. It actually takes place in 2015, years after the initial infection. So tanks, common infected, all the special infected are most definitely dead. All the uncommon infected, common infected are probably dead, and these new special infected, well, they aren't dead. Surprise. Now, one more thing I want to talk about before I end this part of the video is that after the safety checklist video, it goes over what to look for in a compromised safe room. And it shows the second safe room, I believe, in Blood Harvest. And it goes over why it's compromised and all that. And I think it's pretty weird, or no, not weird, but like pretty surprising to see a safe room from the game. Like, I mean, I'm not surprised that the creator is using in-game material, but I'm just surprised to see one of the safe rooms in the Left 4 Dead be labeled as a compromised safe room. But yeah, it just really makes you think. Now, after you play Blood Harvest, it really makes you think what I don't know what it makes you think. I don't know. It just feels different to go into that safe room now. Now that you know that, well, it's compromised, right? Now you know that it's not safe anymore. It's not really a safe room anymore. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say other than I really liked this episode. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good to set the stage. I thought it wasn't very scary, to be honest. It wasn't scary as like the Walton Flowers or something. But like, it was good, like, story. It focused more on the story, which was pretty good. I like it when Analog Horror does that. When Analog Horror series focus more on the story rather than the scare factor. And like, yeah, it's good to be scary, but like, come on now. You can't, what's the point? Like, you can't just throw, like, I don't know. I don't know, I'm just rambling on at this point. Like, you have to have oh my god, I can't speak. I'm trying to say you have to have a reason to be scary. You can't just be scary for no reason. But yeah, this episode, 10 out of 10, great start, great standalone video. Can't wait to see what the series does in the future. Okay, next episode. The Vanna. That being both the second episode title of SETA Analog Horror and the hotel you escaped from in Dead Center. Now this episode starts off with the weather, and I don't know, man, it doesn't say the fact that there's a virus that's airborne running around. And I know in the comics it said that, like, sometimes it's airborne, sometimes it's not. I don't really know, it's all boring sciencey stuff. But yeah, you would think the news is reliable, and it's not, unfortunately. And then it cuts to commercials, and just listen to this commercial. This is amazing.
Do you need a place to stay to see the wonderful city of Savannah? If you do, come book a place at the Vanna. With state-of-the-art clean and comfortable bedrooms and baths, highly dedicated staff, and room service working throughout the day and night, an award-winning breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Famous for the very Jimmy Gibbs choosing to stay with us on several occasions. The Vanna. Need a place to stay at Savannah? Just head to the Vanna.
Now, if you didn't do the Soyjak pointing at something meme right there, like 3 times, I don't know what's wrong with you. Anyway, after that, it cuts to some shots of the Vanna before the infection. And then after that, it goes to recorded footage from a camera found from rubble. And the footage isn't that long, so I was going to play it for you. So yeah, that happened. That was also in 2009, so that may have been before or after the survivors went through the building, but I don't really know. Anyway, after that, it starts lore dumping, and I'm just gonna summarize what they say. If you want an actual, like, accurate depiction of what they say, just go watch the dang video. I'm not your mom. I don't have to tell you the whole thing. You can watch it yourself. Now, what they basically say is that they have 2 SETA evacuation sirens, one in the hotel and another at the Liberty Mall, and that's basically about it. I guess it also does reference the safe room video and another green fluid immunity video, but we haven't seen those other 2 videos, and we've already seen the safe room one. Anyway, after that, it just has a bunch of text on screen. The first one, it says, previous segment was broadcasted on television channels on September 19th to 21st, so around when the infection was basically at its height. The next one says, only 2 evacuation centers were established due to poor preparation of management, which I'm not surprised. They did not last long, both being completely overrun on the 21st, and of course in Dead Center we can see that. And then it compares pictures of the 2 evacuation centers before and after they got overran. The before pictures being similar to what we saw in the games. The now pictures are pretty hard to see, but from what we can tell, it's not really what we saw in the game. And then it says most of the area has been cleared of infected, but it's very eerie, and it feels like almost like something is watching them. And then the episode ends. Congratulations, you finished episode 2. Yippee! Now, let's talk for a bit. What do you think was watching them at the end of the episode? It was a stalker. Of course, it was a stalker. What else do you think? It was a boomer? No, they're all dead. They're all dead now. Also, remember last episode when I was saying that this series takes place in 2015 mostly? Well, here's the proof. Anyway, I don't really have much else to say other than need a place to stay at Savannah, then head to the Vanna. That commercial's amazing. I love that. I love that little rhyme there. Anyway, that's about it. I'm gonna give this episode an 8.5 out of 10. A lot more talking than scary. And like, I get there's a lot of lore that comes into this, but like, come on now. Just, I don't know. I just think it's not really as good as the last one. But I mean, we still got a few more episodes, so it can recover from this. All right, we're done here. Let's go to the next episode. Liberty Mall, the 3rd episode. Let me tell you, this episode is eventful. I'm not gonna spoil it, but stuff happens in this episode. This episode starts with a logo sting, and it looks rough compared to the rest of the logo scenes we've seen in the rest of the series. If you didn't know, there were logo stings, like intros for the rest of the episodes, and they all looked like decent. They all look clean. This one has like raining in the background and does not look very good. Definitely fits with the rest of the episode though. Anyway, Liberty Mall starts with a videotape found on scene, and it's a bunch of text, basically. It's a conversation between 2 people, and the first guy says, shouldn't we be waiting for everybody else, David? David says, we practically cleared all of Savannah, barely ran into any infected besides a few commons this whole time. Live a little, Xavier. Nobody's been in the US as in freaking over 5 years. It's only natural to go and want to explore. So we got both of the names now. We got David and Xavier. Xavier then asks if we get caught off of our patrol. Xavier says, you let me deal with that. Now, I'm sure you know what's gonna happen to these 2. So I'm just gonna let the video play out until the climax happens, because it's just a bunch of text and them just looking around, and nothing really interesting happens until then. Alright, now a few things. First of all, love to see in-game locations all different from the passing of time and all that. And another thing, I love the fact that they used the Left 4 Dead footage, or no, sorry, not Left 4 Dead footage. They use like in-game material. What's the word? I can't think of the word. They recorded in-game using mods to capture some of the footage they used for that scene. Anyway, after that, the dealer stumbles upon something that the tape doesn't really want us to know what is, and to put it lightly, some stuff happened. Unfortunately, both of our friends get killed, but Xavier does survive, long enough at least to give us some spooky audio that the tape doesn't really want us to show the footage of, so I'm gonna go ahead and play that here. And then it says, until we figure out a plan, we're not going back to that mall. And then that's it. That's the end of the video. Congratulations. Alright, well, what did you think? I thought it was pretty good. That place, where they died, you could actually go there in Left 4 Dead 2, and it's not just like a general place like where they died in Liberty Mall. In another one of the videos, I don't think it's this next one. I think it's like a few videos after the next one. But in one of these videos, it tells you where, like an exact location where they died, and you can actually go there in Left 4 Dead 2, which I think is really cool. It is really cool to have these happen at in-game locations, so you can like go there and I don't know, just kind of like see the 2009 version of what's going to happen later. Anyway, I'm going to give this a 9.5 out of 10. A bit more talking than I expected, and a bit more, you know, just kind of walking around, but I did enjoy looking at Liberty Mall in 2015. Pretty good overall, and a great scary moment at the end. So yeah, pretty good. I'm excited to see what comes after this. Episode 4, The Trainee. This is the closest this analog horror series has gone to a normal analog horror series, because this tape is a training tape, a SETA training tape. I don't know why it took this long for a normal horror, analog horror kind of thing to come into this, so... Also, at the start of the episode, we're already finding secrets. You may have not caught it in the intro, but right there's a little text that says, "We can't let them know." What does that mean? I don't really know. They can't let me know. They can't let you know. They obviously, I don't know what they mean. They probably mean the infection or something like that. I don't really know, because I can't know, just like you. Anyway, talking with the actual video, it greets you, it says, "We welcome you and congratulate you on passing the SETA faculty requirements, also known as CFR, and beginning the SETA agent training. However, due to the crisis the northeast of America is facing by the hands of Green Flu, the training will have to be rushed in some places. Once the situation with Green Flu is stable, you shall receive the finer details of your training that you will miss." Now let's get started. Alright, the first section it starts with is the duties of a SETA agent, and you are a part of the Viral and Health Task Force. So, and then it goes on about the origins of the infected and how it started in Pennsylvania in an office building, and how the dude that was infected started attacking everyone, and everybody in the building was infected. And then the video glitches out, and then the word "spread" shows up, and it turns green. Spooky. Anyway, after that, it goes into the next section, which is evacuation protocols. It also does glitch out, which is bad, and it has text in the glitchy part that has this. I'm not gonna try and unscramble that because that's gonna take too long for me, but I mean, hey, you can. I'm not stopping you from doing it. And then the person narrating the tape says, "Okay, so since public knowledge about this Green Flu is starting to become a little too much to handle, we're gonna make these centers, right? And we're gonna push out this like little commercial or not a commercial, but like PSA broadcasts, like this broadcast this little message telling everyone to come to these centers and be safe. Then it goes through a little tour of Mercy Hospital and says that it's your job to stay here and all that. Basically, your job is to help with the evacuation protocols and keeping everyone safe part. Being a CEDA agent, you know? And then it fades to what we know Mercy Hospital as today. Unfortunate. It then goes into text mode, and the first thing it says that it was too fast for us to do anything. They were turning into monsters, and we had to convince them that they will be okay. We lost friends and co-workers when the centers got overrun. They were left for dead and either died or got infected. We had no idea what we were doing then. And then it does this, does that, and says epidemic. And then an entirely new tape starts playing unrelated to the CEDA training video, and I think this is the military that's making this, not CEDA, because I don't really know, to be honest. It has a CEDA logo in the front of it, but it also has the American flag, so what do I know? But it's talking about the New Orleans evacuation protocol, which is where the parish takes place, and is where they tried to find the military, and where the military is bombing the place, so I don't know. Maybe it is the military, maybe it's CEDA, I don't know, but it is the military taking care of all the evacuation and all that. Anyway, after that, some more text showed up. The first one saying, once they tried, they failed. They made the lights fall from the sky. They were so wonderful, so majestic, and so warm. I felt the skin peel off of my body. Should I be reading this? Nothing left to hide away my insides. As my skin was being vaporized, the lights failed them. The spread will continue. And that's it. Congratulations. Alright, so that's it for the trainee video. I thought it was pretty good. I feel like I'm saying that for every tape, but I legitimately thought that was actually pretty good. On the last little segment of the video where it like talks about the evacuation protocol for New Orleans, and I said that the military is making it, I was wrong. CEDA was making it. The military was simply just assisting with not with the tape, but with the protocols in the tape. Anyway, other than that one mistake in the video, I don't really know what else to say. I like the No Mercy part where it like faded into the actual map of No Mercy, like the little survival part where you have to wait for the elevator to come down. Yeah, pretty good that video was. I'm going to give this a 6.5 out of 10. Not really as good as the other videos. I like the fact that it just simply was a training video, but it had really a lot more lore dumping, and it wasn't lore that we haven't heard yet. Like, it's basically saying that we built an evacuation center at Mercy Hospital and it got overran. Like, that hasn't happened with Liberty Mall in what was the hotel called again? Vanna Hotel. The Vanna. So yeah, basically just a repeat of what we've heard before. And without further ado, let's go ahead and go to the next episode, shall we? Door, a shorter video compared to the last ones, but not the shortest video in the series. This takes place after the bulk of the infection, so in 2015, it shows photographs of points of interest. Now the first one is the potential safe room, and shows off the beginning of No Mercy at daytime, so that's pretty cool. And then discusses that the rooftop is the only thing that has guns, medkits, and anything that a normal safe room would have. It also shows off the rest of the building, which seems to be taken over by nature. It then discusses about why the supplies might have been at the roof, but then it says making a safe room outside was unadvised because GF09, or Green Flu 2009, has the chance to spread via air. Next it shows a failed safe room. This safe room in particular is, I believe, the last safe room in Coldstream. I know it's from Coldstream, but I don't remember which level it's from. I believe it's the last one, but I could be wrong. Then says that unlike the last one, this is a fully constructed safe room, and all of the supplies and the bodies were pretty recent. It also says to be on the lookout for the other things. What is that other thing? The wizard. So, what'd y'all think? I thought that was pretty spooky, especially the end. That I really don't like listening to that last part, especially with headphones. It sounds so weird. I don't. If you're into ASMR, you might like that, but I'm not. I'm personally, I just really don't like it. It feels really weird. I really just don't like it. In a good way, of course. I don't like it in a good way. It's not a bad episode, definitely. I really like the idea of the whisper. Like it draws you in by talking to you, and then it lunges at you at the perfect opportunity. So yeah, so we got the stalker that of course stalks you and then just decides to kill you whenever it wants. And now we get the whisper, which lures you in and then gets you, which is it's pretty cool. That's kind of what the witch does, except she doesn't want you to annoy her, and the stalker wants you to, I guess. Not exactly anymore, but you get what I'm trying to say. Anyway, I'd probably give this episode an 8. I like the fact that it talks more about safe rooms and how they just absolutely have no idea what they're dealing with here. And that absolutely terrifying part at the end with the whispers and all that. I absolutely hated that part. But like I've said before, I hate it. Okay, this next one is literally just 40 seconds long, so I was gonna go play the whole thing. Here's a time scamp. Scamp? No, sorry, Tad. Oh my god, I can't speak. Just go here if you want to skip it, or if you're scared easily.
I can't believe he bit me. I never should have let him in. I can't believe he bit me. I can't believe he bit me. No, get in here until I know you're immune. I'm sorry. No, stay there. Go away.
I like the fact that the church guy was in this video. That was pretty cool. So yeah, I don't really have anything else to say other than Yippee! Also, here's my rating. Authorized. This is yeah, this is the 7th episode. We're on the last few episodes now. There are 9 episodes. We still got 2 other ones. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. We're gonna see some familiar faces with this one. Just this is a little teaser for what we're about to see. Okay. Anyway, it starts with some legal mumbo jumbo, normal analog horror stuff. It basically says that if you're not from CETA or the government or whatever, stop watching this video. It's illegal, all that. And then it cuts to the CETA agent just reading on a clipboard, and I'm assuming he looks towards the camera right before it cuts out. I can't really tell, to be honest. It's kind of hard to tell in that suit of his. Anyway, after that, we have some shots of the Vena Hotel being normal and all that. And then we have some shots of the Vena Hotel being on fire. And then a shot of the map on the table you first see with the deagle. Or there's not a deagle, I don't know, sometimes it is. Then there cuts to New Orleans. And then the actual tape starts, which talks about authorization and what that term means. Something is authorized, that means it could cause harm to other people. At least here, I don't think the actual definition of authorization or authorized is that definition of what I just said. And then it starts to explain what a carrier is and what to do with them if the carrier center is already full. The tape says to take them to the designated quarantine area and then shows shots of dead people. So I think we can all tell what happened to him. And then the voice line of Coach and Nick plays, which is, I believe, the first time we've heard from an in-game character, other than the church guy.
These ain't zombies. Somebody's been shooting people.
Somebody? Christ, Coach, you know who did that.
And then it cuts to the photos of the carriers who were responsible for the shots fired at the West Bank side of Veterans Memorial Bridge. That's the bridge in the parish, if you don't know. And then it shows pictures of our survivors. Look at that, all of them. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So we got Wendell Coach Jones, Nicholas Murphy, Rochelle Ates, I don't know how to say that, Ates Langley, and Ellis Gilman. I should say that these names aren't canon, at least the names, like the first and last names, we don't really know them. We only know the names that we know them by, so. It then says we were given the authorization to neutralize them after gaining all the info we can extract from them. It then gives their reasoning, and the text before this, the music finally just quits after that. I know what you're thinking, but that doesn't happen, trust me. Because after that it says, but right before we can, CETA offered to take the carriers off our hands to an undisclosed location. Oh, thank God, so our survivors aren't dead. They said that they don't need to be shot in a controlled environment, and also commenting about how they have the capacity to treat the carriers more humanely than we do, the government. Which is fine with us, as long as it's not on USA soil, we are responsible for everything that happens here now, with Green Flu. They at least confirmed that it won't be on any sort of continental body, so that there are no opportunities for Green Flu to spread anywhere else. Unless CETA does something stupid, I won't put it past them. And that's the end of episode 7, congratulations. Episode 7, that was really good, I think. I was really happy that we get to see our survivors again. And after that, the Veterans Memorial Bank, or not bank, bridge, whatever, I could have sworn that was in Coldstream. That was a Coldstream bridge. I could have sworn it was from Coldstream. I saw somewhere that was from Coldstream, but I guess it's from the parish, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, that was a really good episode. I think it knocks up a few points, like just for the survivors alone, and for the amount of lore that's in it. Really happy to see the survivors are still alive after the parish. We may not ever get an official answer to what happened to them after the parish, but I think for our headcanon, at least for my headcanon, this is a good ending to their story. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and rank it probably a 9.5 out of 10. Really good overall. Really like the happy ending that they get. I really like the moment where you thought they were gonna die, but thankfully they didn't. So yeah, that was pretty good. Anyway, let's skedaddle on to the next episode. I don't know why it says skedaddle, but seriously, let's go to the 8th episode. Episode 8 summary. Okay, I said there were 9 episodes. There are 9 episodes, but like the last one has some stuff attached to it. I don't know. I'll talk more about it when we get there. But anyway, we're in the home stretch, people. Amazing. I'm surprised if you're still hard watching this. I'm not very good at editing this stuff. At least like to like top tier quality. So I'm sorry for making everything look or feel really bad. But yeah, this episode, it's definitely words, a lot more words, but I feel like every episode has just been a bunch of words, so that basically sums up the series. But I think this one's more words than general, like the general episode, because the first half is a lot of words, and the rest, not like directly scary stuff, but like, I don't know how to describe it. Basically, I don't know. You know what? You'll see it when I explain the episode. I don't have to explain it for you. Okay, so the episode starts with a summary of what happened in the Liberty Mall video, hence the name summary. Incident summary. Liberty Mall. 4/18/15, or April 18th, 2015, Savannah, Georgia. On April 18th, 2015, David Johnson and Xavier Thompson left their patrol route to explore Liberty Mall that was not cleared yet. Their mutilated bodies were found in front of the ground floor of the Klepper store. A singular infected was responsible for their deaths. Half of its body was severely distorted. It had incredible strength and agility for its stature, which resembled an old woman. That infected tore those poor kids to shreds. The footage from their body cams were hard to watch. We have never encountered an infected like this before. The closest we've ever seen to something like this is the Hunter Special Infected that used to be very common in the early days of the pandemic. It's now been 3 days and we have been directed to start clearing out Liberty Mall. All other units in the New World have been notified about this infected and to stay alert to look out for any other potential instances of it. Sergeant says that it was most likely a one-off mutation due to no other unit in the country entry mentioning encountering an infected like this. This whole situation just proves that New World is still as dangerous as ever, even with the lower infected population. There is still a reason why the ones that are still here have been alive for so long. Sargent said that the reason David and Xavier died was because they went alone into the unknown. That if they had at least more numbers with them, they would probably still be here with us. That whatever this infected was would have gone down with a little more extra firepower. No infected is immune to bullets. They all go down eventually. We are getting ready to clear out the mall tomorrow. There seemed to be not much activity inside of it besides that monster looking infected. We are confident that this isn't a new special infected class. There is no way there could be more of these things, right? The background disappears and the word right becomes bigger. It goes to the compromised safe room from the first episode and zooms into the grate, I think it's called. I don't remember what it's called. Text appears which says, "It was underneath, observing within the shadows. It was staring," the text says. If you can't see the stare, don't worry, neither can I. Footage from Liberty Mall starts playing when they open the safe room door. They were stepping into their domain, observing the intruders within the shadows. They were staring. A clearing unit entered Liberty Mall, comprising of 20 people. Only 3 came out. Next it shows footage of something we can't quite see, and it zooms in. We still can't quite see it. How's it expecting to see this stuff? The unit stumbled upon their colony. It shows a bright image of the thing and says this is not the same infected that attacked Johnson and Thompson. Yeah, it showed the same behavior as it. Same as the infected at that colony. Incredible speed, agility, and durability. These infected are establishing colonies. Nest? How come we've only ran into this now? Seems like Sargent was right. All potential work that has been done in this extermination is now in question. This is no doubt a new infected class or a class never reported before. Now there's only 59 total of us left at home. We're going to have to report this to headquarters. I'm not going to forget those bone-chilling stares and gleaming eyes. And then that's the end of the episode. Congratulations. Yippee! Okay, episode 8 summary over. That was I think that was an alright episode. I feel like this episode was like that episode when the big reveal of what's under everyone's noses is of course revealed. So not an eventful episode, but an episode that's going to lead to an eventful episode, you know? The next episode I don't really think it's very much related to this episode. Not in a way that it's like not in like the same universe or like the same situation. More like it's not really like it's not, I don't know how to explain it. It's not related to like Liberty Mall or this colony or anything. And talking about the colony, a hive nest. It's like an ant colony. Like there's just a bunch of these stalkers or. No, not stalkers. I don't know why I keep saying stalkers. The stairs in Liberty Mall now. So that's very distressing information. I really want to know more about the Whisper and what he's doing. We've only seen one of them, and I really want to see more of them. But anyway, yeah, very terrifying information to know that our mall is infested with these very dangerous stairs. It's like if we went to Liberty Mall in Dead Center, there was just like 20 tanks just like at the end, and like Jimmy Gibbs Jr. car, just 20 tanks just hanging out over there, not really doing anything, just hanging out. So yeah, with that, I don't know, I'm gonna rank this probably another an 8.5 out of 10. Pretty good. Much more lore than other ones, which, I mean, not bad in any account, but, you know, not super exciting to watch compared to the other ones. So yeah, that's what I think of the episode. I'll make it like a final opinion of every episode at the end of this video. So I'll make like a little tier list or something, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, without further ado, let's go on to the next episode. The last episode, actually. Yeah, the last episode. Let's go to the last episode, shall we? Episode 9, Green Flu. This is the last episode, and I think this is a pretty interesting episode. It involves someone succumbing to the infection, which is pretty cool, and a kind of dark ending, depending on how you watch it. So Yeah, exciting, well, I don't know what the really good word to use, but for lack of a better word, a pretty interesting episode we're gonna see here. Alright. Okay, so the episode starts out as normal with the Sita intro, except there's a glitch at the end of it, which is pretty loud, so. And after a few seconds of silence, the green flu tape begins. The first thing the tape tells us is what the green flu even is. Green flu is a newly discovered pathogen that was no different than the common cold. However, it has now mutated to a severe illness affecting countless people throughout the northeast US. This video is to help you learn and understand what green flu 09 is and how to identify infection and immunity to the pathogen. Keep in mind, we are still very early into this epidemic. Information in this tape may be outdated or subject to change as we learn more about this pathogen at a later date. We as CETA have always made the effort to be 100% transparent with everybody across the globe. We are not withholding any information about green flu. You are still you. The next section is about green flu, which is basically what it is, or no, not what it is, where it came from and all that. The first ever documented case of green flu was at late August in Fairfield, Pennsylvania, before its severe mutation. Green flu pre-mutation was akin to a less deadly flu, although what initially caught our concern was its extreme infectivity and mutation rate. We have no clue on what green flu exactly is, as direct observation of green flu 09 is extremely limited due to the nature of the pathogen. Theories have circulated claiming it to be a new variant of rabies or VCJD/mad cow disease, but none of these theories have concrete backing at this time. And for a few frames, text that says "I can feel it in my head" shows up. Next section is transmission, or how the green flu gets spread. It only lists two things, that being bodily fluids and air contact. Then it skips to the next section, which is symptoms. When infected, there are two stages to green flu after the incubation period: docile stage and the aggressive stage. Now about a docile stage, incubation time can wildly vary from a few minutes to days. It ultimately depends on a person's tolerance to the virus. Seems like you don't have much. In this stage, symptoms of green flu may begin to be apparent and the infected individual may begin to fall into green flu, but maintain their sanity for the time being. They may begin to exhibit flu-like symptoms, including but not limited to headaches, runny nose, itchy throat, difficulty swallowing, weakness, pale skin, sensitivity to bright lights, and hallucinations. Now for the aggressive stage. Once an infected individual has started lashing out at non-infected, they are considered to be at the aggressive stage. At this point, green flu has gotten a good grip of the victim, and most if not all sanity and reason has been lost, as soon you will experience. This stage is usually accompanied with, but not limited to, seizures, vomiting, diarrhea, internal bleeding, muscle spasms, brain damage, body disfigurement, and extreme aggression. They are still human. Violence committed against people that are infected is still illegal. After that, it talks about immunity. There is no immunity to green flu. A better way to describe it is the word tolerance. Incubation times and the amount of time in the docile stage is completely reliant on the amount of tolerance the body has to green flu and how long it can withstand it before succumbing. Only a tiny fraction of the general population has a gene that makes them immune to green flu's effects, but still harbor the pathogen and able to spread it freely. These people are classified as carriers. Then it starts to talk about carriers. Carriers are individuals who carry green flu but suffer little to no effects. They are able to keep their sanity. A good carrier is a dead carrier. Repeat this text a few times until you see a few dead people. I am infected. There's no point in denying it anymore. I am actively losing myself. I can't even tell if half of the stuff I watched was in my head or not. I'm so thirsty. I can't drink any without gagging it out. I swore I was blacking out in the middle of watching this. What is happening to me? Why is this happening to me? I don't want to end up like the things my neighbors turned into. These infected, they are not human at all. Not anymore. There's no treatment for this infection. But I do have this. From here, you're presented with two options: use the gun or don't use the gun. Both endings are not good for this guy, because if you don't use the gun, you turn into a Sayer, but if you do use the gun, you, well, die. So, neither are very good options, neither are, there are no good endings for this guy. He either turns into a zombie or he dies. Either way, he's still gonna die. I'll still see you in an episode, yeah, whatever. Yippee! Okay, episode 9, the last episode, we're finally done with it. Now, before I forget, those last two videos, the shoot and don't shoot videos, they have like a little what's it called? Like little things that like you could go to, like little websites or whatever. Well, they're not websites, but like they're little extra lore details. The Don't Shoot one, I believe, it has a little bit more lore on the well, what was it? The colony and like the nest that was in Liberty Mall with all the stalkers and everything, or stairs, sorry. And Shoot has what was that? I don't remember, but it basically had lore about what Sita does and or what Sita is doing right now and what the survivors are doing right now, actually, now that they got rescued and everything. So yeah, terrific episode, wonderful. Honestly, I'm gonna say it's a 10 out of 10, really. But actually, now that I say it's a 10 out of 10, I want to make, I'm probably gonna make a like a final tier list of all the episodes. I don't know when I'm gonna make that, but I'll make that probably, hopefully soon. I want to get this video done. It's been taking me a long time. This has been taking me a long time because I just been procrastinating on it this whole time. But yeah, 10 out of 10 episode. Really great. It was really weird to tape. It said it was talking like it knew that you were infected, which felt a bit weird. I feel like that tape was probably sent out to people who were infected and they just weren't zombies yet. It makes sense, I guess. But yeah, 10 out of 10 episode. Love it. Great ending to the series. Alright, that's all the episodes. Hope you enjoyed. Season 2 of this series is actually being made right now. A few episodes have been made of it already, but I don't want to cover it. I'm not gonna cover it, I don't think, in this video. Not in this video. I'll probably make another video talking about season 2, but this is season 1 in this video, and it got finished. I don't know. It was already finished when I found it. So yeah. Anyway, love. I don't really know what to say that I haven't said already, but really, I'm just so surprised that this even exists. I would not think anyone would be dedicated enough to make a Left 4 Dead 2 analog horror, but people have made whole source filmmaker animations for the campaign, so I don't know, who am I to say. But yeah, anyway, other than that, about that tier list, I made it, as you can see, pretty, not, different ratings that I gave with the numbers. The numbers were not, I don't know how to describe it. Okay, now let me explain myself for the tier list. Okay, so in S tier we have the Safe Room and Green Flu video. Both wonderful videos. You just heard my opinion about Green Flu, and the Safe Room is just as amazing. Introduces the stair, amazing, special infected. You know, I don't know what else to say. It's that good. I don't know what else to say because it's just so good that I have no words to describe how good it is. Yeah, next up is Liberty Mall in A tier. Now, the reason why I have this in A tier is because it's significant, right? It leads to another episode summary, which has the nest and everything, and it has a good moment. It has a good scary moment at the end with the audio and what's his name? David and Xavier dying by the hands of Sarah. Pretty good episode, but I don't think it's as good as Green Flu or Safe Room because it's not as influential as, or at least as influential as Safe Room. I think Green Flu is just like a good standalone episode. And on B tier is the trainee video and the Vanna Hotel video. Vanna, not super huge. The dead center, no, not dead center, the Vanna Hotel is burning up. We see that Vanna, or no, oh my god, I can't speak. The hotel's burning up, we see that dead center, nothing huge, nothing scary. I just put it in B tier because I just really like that one commercial. It was good. Otherwise it'd be probably in like C or D tier. And the trainee video, I think The trainee video, it was alright. I think the end was pretty good, having an infected stare just kind of talk. It also showed how pretty incompetent Sita is with dealing with this stuff. But yeah, nothing huge. It's in B tier because it has a mention of No Mercy, the No Mercy Hospital. So yeah. Next up on C tier is Summary. Nothing huge happens. Literally, the only thing notable about oh my god, I can't speak. The only thing notable about that episode is the nest in Liberty Mall, and that's it. It just recites the events of Liberty Mall, and then says there's a nest in Liberty Mall, and then that's it. It also reinforces the fact that the stairs can kill people very easily. So that happens in that video. Alright, nothing's in D tier. I don't know, I just never really, I didn't really think anything deserved to be in there. And then in E tier is Authorized and Door. Door is not really that scary. Sure, the last part with the whisper, but the whisper, that's like its only episode. It's in the Door episode and then it's never mentioned again. I think the whisper was something that the creator tried, but just decided that it wouldn't work, and then just scrapped it basically. And then Authorized, I just don't think that episode was very. I just don't think it was very, huge in the grand scheme of things. I did like that the survivors were in it, which is actually the only reason why it's in D tier, or no, not D tier, E tier, and not at the bottom. But yeah, other than the survivors, that's really the only thing that saves it. But yeah, not very important in the grand scheme of things, and Door is just, I feel like, if it wasn't in the season, if I didn't talk about it, then nothing would be different in the grand scheme of this universe. And then at the bottom is Safe and Sorry. Nothing huge with this episode. It's just basically fan service. It's basically, hey, look, it's the church guy from Death Toll. You remember him? You remember him? You remember asking him to let you in, and him being like, nuh-uh, and then sending zombies out to kill you. You remember that, don't you? It was basically just that. It was just a bunch of fan service. It was not scary. If anything, it was just kind of a waste of space, of kind of like a slide. There was like a restricted. This person, the creator, like had to make a few episodes. This would just be like an episode there, just to say, hey, I made an episode. That's it. Also, the length is pretty short, so I think that reinforces my point. Okay, end of the video. Like and subscribe or whatever. I don't know what normal YouTubers say or whatever.
Leave me alone! Ah! Akira!